And we have activation of valve force. Prepare for warp speed. Good evening, my friends. This is VJ FRANZ K. We've been talking about the iPad a lot, but I'd like to go back and talk about Electribes for a while. Today I'm going to unbox the replacement power supply that I got from Noisebug. And if any of you need a replacement power supply, I recommend just place an order from them. Anyway, it comes in a generic box because normally you just get it with the unit itself. So take it out. It's a fairly generic box wrapped up in plastic here. As you may know from my other videos, they are my favorite series of groove boxes. And in this case, it is an Electribe EMX1. And one of the notable features about the EMX1 is obviously the valve force, which are a pair of vacuum tubes. You use this alongside the main volume knob if you want a loud but very clean digital sound. You turn the main volume up high and keep the tube gain down at 0 or, you know, just a little bit. If you want a very rich vacuum tube type sound, you can turn the tube gain way up. The best of both worlds in one unit. Sounds quite nice. One piece of advice I have is if you are running your voice through the Electribe or other, you know, microphone things like an acoustic guitar, you may want to use less tube gain. Here is the Korg Electribe power supply, and we'll bring in the magnifying robot here. And some of you may notice that I believe this is the same power supply as used in the Korg Triton. The reason why you need such a large power supply here, which has a lead on one end to connect to the unit, and notice this is a non-standard proprietary sort of connector. Here it looks like a MIDI plug, but it actually has 4 pins. It actually contains 2 separate power supplies that are powering the unit at the same time. And the reason why it draws so much power is, of course, it has to run these vacuum tubes. What is this device, you may ask? Could it be perhaps a giant enemy crab? No, it's not an enemy, it's a friend. It's my cordless power pal. Now, actually, I've used this a couple of times to play outside with AFC, which is an experimental folk band that I sometimes play and record with. But this device is designed for restarting cars. It's pretty heavy duty, but I needed this in order to battery power my Electribe ESX. So, you know, I'd much rather use a smaller power supply to power supply it, even though this thing is rather cool. Not only can it power your electric devices, but it can also refill your tires, and it has a built-in electric night light. Isn't that great? So if you get stuck in your car coming back from the gig, you are safe. I love to use my keyboards portably, so actually, if I could, I would rather have the valve force on a separate optional unit that I could use or not use. The previous series, Electribes, used a much smaller, fairly generic and easily replaceable power supply. And they're also easily battery powerable. And I would like to issue a challenge out there to the circuit benders, the hackers, or anyone out there. If you can, make an Electribe EMX or ESX run off of an easily portable battery supply, I would very much like to hear about it, and perhaps I will make a contest or something like that, just for the interest of getting this done. Even if we had to remove the tubes, and these tubes are replaceable, but the interesting thing is that the unit makes no sound without the tubes. So sound is always routed through them on the way out the two main outs. And you also have two individual outs, which you can route other things through. But anyway, so that's the way it is. These also bypass the effects, I believe. I need to check on that. But anyway, let's plug this in and do some electribing. And as I've said, make sure to attach the power supply here to the power input and not to the MIDI plugs here. Don't want to do that anyway. So, connecting. As you can see, it's a very secure connection. It doesn't come out easily, which is good. Alright, let's hear the effect that the valve force has on the sound. I'm going to go ahead and turn up and down the tube gain and the master volume, so you can get a sound that is more crisp digital or more warm analog, or best of all, a hybrid of those two tones. Alright, here we go. Here's the digital sound. Very, very crisp edge to it. Then we bring in some more tube. You can already hear, or maybe you can't hear, I don't know, but it's bringing in a rich tone to the bass, which is nice. Now if we want, we can get a really fuzz sound to it. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is set it up midway between the two. And then we'll start bringing in some other synths. Here's a little composition I made called Ivory Coast. It's sort of electro-African or something like that. I don't know. It's great to have all sorts of interesting influences. Here comes that percussion now. You can hear the African and Caribbean influences now. Swing rhythms. All right. And now for the kick. Kick's too distorted, so we're gonna phase back the valve force a little bit until the kick is the right balance between fat and clean. There we have a nice snare. The footage from that show as we played under a tree with electronic, electric, and acoustic instruments was beautiful. I've got to find that footage and put it up for you to watch.